windy today, but a perfectly idyllic day. Good day for a cycling race, which is basically happening behind me up there. Look, I'm going to take a wander up, see what it's like. Probably massively boring, but anyway. So I am actually back at the British Council. It's where I finished off the White Horse outside the British Council. Is where I finished off my video yesterday, or I did my video yesterday. And wow, the things I found out. Now, yesterday I was talking about John Brown being appointed by David Cameron, but of course it turns out, I'm sure some of you probably knew this, he was actually, John Brown was appointed to the cabinet by a guy called Francis Maude, who is of course the MP is an MP in Sussex of Balcombe and I guess a few other areas, which of course is where the fracking is taking place, which makes you think, oh wow, how amazingly and obviously corrupt they are. I'm just going to stop here actually and do a bit of time lapse. This might be quite interesting. Let's check this out. Obviously I saw that in normal time, so it was a little bit boring, but hopefully sped up it was quite interesting. Which way am I going to go? I'm going to go this way. So, similar to the build-up of sorry, people are getting in my way and it really pisses me off. La 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 la. Happy. So on the run up to Bilderberg, I did a video about looking into the Chief Police Officer of Hertfordshire Police, and of course it turned out that he was common purpose and heavily involved in common purpose as well. Well, you'll never guess what. When I was looking into the Chief Police Officer of Sussex Police, they're playing music up there, so I don't want it to spoil my video. The Chief Police Officer of Sussex Police is a guy called Martin Richards. Or is it Richard Martin? I can't remember. But the Chief Police Officer of Sussex Police is massively involved with common purpose. And of course Francis Maude is massively involved in common purpose. So this whole thing of, you know, starting off fracking, put the people in place, get everything going for the whole fracking and fucking up of the water table in Sussex is completely... these people are involved with common purpose. Now, it should have been pretty obvious for us to know that, really, shouldn't it? Should have really just guessed it from the outset. One of the more interesting things is that the guy. Let's check if he is called Martin Richards. Bear with me a second. Look at the sky for a second. He is called, as I professionally do, holding the camera too close to me. He is called Martin Richards, and he is involved not just with he's not just the Chief Police Officer of Sussex Police, but he's involved in something called the Initial Police Learning and Development Programme. Now, the Initial Police Learning and Development Programme is the sort of training programme they put all brand new recruits of the police through. I just realised I'm at this, look. Looks like weird kind of glass thing. Let's get the sun behind it, see what it's like. Water. It's the National Police Memorial. What's this? Police Roll of Honour. Michael Winner. Chairman and the founder of the Police Memorial Trust. Police service at Northern Line was in control of a stolen car. Cached. Whilst on patrol, a stolen car cashed into her police car, causing fatal injuries. Wow. You need a lot of cash to form a fatal injury. That was a bit weird, wasn't it? It's very strange. Now, the initial police training that they do, the guy who basically runs that centre for every single new police recruit is heavily involved in common purpose. And I was thinking about this basically because, you know, the people at Bulcombe, they're talking to the police, and to be honest, a lot of the police down at Bulcombe are probably not from Bulcombe in the slightest. They're going to be from Crawley, which is the next town up, which is sort of one of the big towns. Sorry, I'm all like disorganised today. This is the Citadel behind me, by the way. See this thing covered in ivy? It's covered in ivy generally because they didn't want it to be seen from the air. The Citadel was the Office of Naval Intelligence during the Second World War. It's on the side of the Admiralty building, which is that thing with the green domes on the top. It's the old Admiralty, which is quite nice. Really? Horse Guards Parade. Not too bad. The old War Office. Oh yeah. And those green domes are in the end of Skyfall, because that's where Ian Fleming used to work. Oh, he's doing a tour guiding thing now, aren't I? Big fucking massive gun over there. There's a big fucking gun. So that's what the police, I guess, would love to have in Bulcombe to aim at the protesters. All those little children protesting their water supply. I'm sure they'd love to shoot them with guns. You see, you would have thought that the police down at Bulcombe would probably sympathise in the fact that, you know, it's their water table, their water supply at the same time. But of course they don't, because if they don't do what they're told, they basically lose their jobs. Plus, they've been informed that the job that they're doing as, you know, peacekeepers for the Queen is really massively important, and they're probably, you know, they could progress to be future leaders, because essentially Common Purpose has involved itself with the initial training programme for every single police officer. I guess it's probably just England, but it might be, you know, Wales and Northern Ireland and Scotland and all that kind of stuff. I'm not quite sure, but certainly in England. Which kind of explains why people down in Bulcombe having such a hard time with the police, is because they do not want to hear it. You know, Common Purpose is an organisation that works on, you know, really beefing up people's egos. You know, mind control, otherwise known as neuro-linguistic programming. And neuro-linguistic programming doesn't have to be this, you know, grand thing that, you know, all-invasive, proper demon mind control. It is literally just pandering to the ego. I mean, I'll demonstrate a little bit of 3:30. I'll demonstrate a bit of NLP on you, because I know you'll understand it, because, you know, the people who watch my videos are probably a little bit more intelligent than most people who watch YouTube. I just did it then. Did you see it? Did you spot it? It was the NLP, pandering to your ego. Hopefully on a lot of you it won't work. I'm very militant about my ego. I don't let it control me in the slightest. But of course a police officer generally, these are people who join the force because they enjoy the force. They enjoy using force. These are people generally who, you know, maybe they were bullied at school, maybe they just had this like sensibility about what it is to control people and be in charge and boss people about and all that kind of stuff. I know there are some police officers out there that are a little bit better than that, maybe grown out of that phase, but I would say a lot of people who joined the police force had a very miserable time at school, because people were telling them what to do and people were bossing them about, and they really wanted to get their own back, and this is the psychology that you're up against. I found out something else quite interesting as well. You may have heard of an organisation called Armour Group. Armour Group, I think, were at the Bilderberg conference in suits, and I found out that Armour Group, they basically have like militarised private mercenary army in places like Afghanistan and Iraq, and I found out something interesting in that Armour Group issue their soldiers with Glock 17 pistols, MP5 submachine guns, and G something or other assault rifles. I can't remember what they're called. Glock 17s, G36 assault rifles, which is exactly what the armed police get. I don't know whether it's just in London or whether it's everywhere, but those guys over there get given G17s, MP5s, which is what he's got there, but some of them have G36 assault rifles with ACOG sights. So they get exactly the same as Armour Group. These things are salient, are an important piece of information, because what is essentially happening is that the police are becoming privatised. The police are becoming that private military mercenary force in England. This is what they're becoming. It's only a matter of time before Armour Group and the police are identical. One is operating upon so-called assailants in places like Afghanistan. The other is acting against so-called assailants in places like Balkan